This week on Rockstar Superhero. Every once in a while, I speak to someone who makes me reconsider much of what I do. It's rare, but special because at times like this, I am so deeply honored to have this real connection. I would even go so far as to say it's been happening a lot lately, as I've been speaking to a number of musical artists from Norway of all places. Well, my guest on the show today, Geirmund Hansen, is one such person. I fell in love with his voice a few years back when I discovered his immense band, Rendezvous Point, through another musical interest of mine, the Norwegian progressive powerhouse Leprous. As is often the case, musicians find different projects to be a part of, and their drummer, Baard Kolstad, who also drums for Leprous, has his hands deep in the pockets of Rendezvous Point, his first love, so to speak. This happy accident found its way into my musical heart, where it has taken up residence and refuses to be evicted. Man, I love Rendezvous Point. To me, they are the perfect band of musicians. They are 5 incredibly gifted players who have somehow figured out a unique sound and musical counterpoint that seems to slip across musical genres into something really truly unique. It's stunning. My new friend, Geirmund, is the voice and the soul behind that secret concoction. I will say nothing more, but I encourage you to listen to the entire hour because our conversation builds to a conclusion that I didn't see coming. After this show, I think you'll agree, Geirmund is special. This is my interview with the guaranteed future classic, Geirmund Hansen, on the Rockstar Superhero Podcast. Let's start with your family. That's one of the things that's a rarity in the music business. And I want to encourage you to keep fighting that because you don't know me, and of course, I'm just meeting you now, but I've been following you for quite a few years. You're one of my favorite new vocalists. You're really an extraordinary singer. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. You have this pure tenor with a fantastic range, and it's just, you have superior capabilities, and it just makes me crazy that you're not sort of more known, and I'm looking forward to, more people discovering you around the world. But what I said in the beginning when it was regarding family is you very clearly on social media, you celebrate your family. You have a beautiful wife, you have beautiful children. Yeah. And I wonder what that's like when you have the successes you're having in the media, in the music business, in the public arena. How do you manage the world of art and commerce compared to being a family man?
That's a great question because that is really two worlds that they collide in a huge amount, and in some way I wish I had like my musical career going on before family, but I've always been interested in having kids. And I have my wife Maren, which we've been together in like 13 years now.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That is, and we got married at some point, and then it felt kind of natural to pursue that family thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. And I don't know how old you are. Are you in your early 30s?
Yeah, I'm 32.
Okay. So you really have it all going from a very young age. That's really incredible.
Yeah, and in some parts of Norway, it's quite common that you start your family quite early. But as you said, it is kind of a struggle when in terms of what I want to do, like in the art business or the music business, because there's always something you have to push aside.
Yes.
I rarely feel that I can be 100% focused for a long period of time.
Right.
And that comes even by writing music. It's difficult to find time, especially now in COVID, to find time where I'm alone. So often writing is in the evenings, but then again I have to wake up at 6 because my kids they start their day quite early, so
Yeah.
I can't no longer can I stay up all night as I did when I was younger.
Sure. Sure.
Um,
Oh, go ahead. Pardon.
no. There's a lot of things to discuss regarding like family versus a musical career. But I have to shout out to my wife, who is super understanding, and she really want me and everything I'm involved with to succeed.
Yes.
So, and she actually she's come visited on tour. She was quite frightened or stressed about like this sex, drugs, and rock and roll hype.
Right.
She thought that it's a crazy world, but really it's just hard work.
Yeah.
A lot of traveling and carrying stuff, and so
Yeah.
she saw that, and now she can let me go without hesitating.
Yeah. Without the stresses of that. That's fantastic. Is the rest now, is Rendezvous Point your primary focus, or is it just one of the things? Because typically most artists I know kind of have their hands in a few different pockets, and we sort of unintentionally spread ourselves thin. But I discovered you through Rendezvous Point. I started following Baard a number of years ago as a drummer, and then that just led to Leprous, Rendezvous Point, all the things he was participating in. And then I absolutely fell in love with your group, because it is, as I said a second ago, the most pure sort of musical experience. I mean, I'm gonna brag it up and blow smoke. I
love that.
I truly think, Geirmund, I truly think you are the best band in the world right now. I think most people don't know that, and that's a sad thing. But what Dream Theater was in 1991, you are today. I truly believe that.
Wow, that's exciting to hear. And to be frank with you, I'm a big fan of the band myself. I wasn't the first lead singer in the band.
Yes, I heard.
And before I joined the group, I've never kind of been into like this prog world. I've listened to some metal and some rock and roll, but more kind of plain stuff. And the first time I saw the band, it just struck me like it was thunderstruck, and I was in awe of what they were able to do. And of course, they had some cool songs. And I thought to myself, I want to do that. And then things happened, and I got the question. Of course, super nervous, but now I feel like we have done some great tours, and some were successful and some weren't, kind of in a way of how many people that came to the concerts and stuff. But we always feel that we gain a great audience when we are supporting other bands.
Yeah.
So no matter who we play for or show our music to, I kind of feel like we kind of capture something at the listener that is really exciting, and I understand it because I've been like on the other side myself. So I just want to explore and make it even better each time.
Yeah. May I ask you a question about the process of you coming into the band? Is that sort of an off limits topic? I mean,
well,
it's gotta be tough.
It's kind of I'm the new boyfriend, and a breakup is never is never clean in any way, because there's feelings connected to it. But I think Mats, the former singer, and there's no hard feelings about it now. And I actually asked him to because many of the songs they had recorded for the first album, and we decided that I was gonna rewrite almost everything. But I asked Mats, who wrote Mirrors, the lyric and melody, if we could just keep it, and we could. So, because I think Mirrors is a masterpiece, and I don't think I could add anything to that. So that's kind of his song, and in a way his legacy continues with that song in a way.
Yeah, that's on Solar Storm, correct?
Yeah.
Is the piece that was called Domino? That's Conclusion.
Yeah,
right?
that's one of the songs, and I still get still get questions. When are we gonna play? I can't remember Domino, but that's we're gonna do Conclusion part 1 and 2 now.
Yeah. When you talked about family earlier, it made me think of the rest of the band. Are any of them married?
Yeah, Gunhild is married, so she is probably the one that is closest to kind of family living. But the rest, Baard, he's living life at his fullest. And Nikolai, Peter is of course married to Kirsten, an American. So we're kind of growing up, but I've always been the one that has to say, no, we can't do 7 weeks in a row. We have to minimize it. I always feel like I have this handbrake in the terms of go with the flow, and that comes back to when the world collides in a way. I love my family and I love the music and everything that goes into that. But realistically, I have to find this golden middle way, or how do you say it? Like to make compromises that will make my two world function together in a way.
Right. How to mix them without ruining either side. How to get compromise to happen. Right.
Yeah.
The moderacy of it. No, I find that really interesting. You mentioned family a lot, and one of the focuses of this show is to sort of humanize the rock star experience, because a lot of people, they don't see musicians, any musician, whether they're famous or not, they don't see them as human. They see them as rock stars, and they see their lives as out there or unattainable. And you're so focused on family. Can you tell us a bit about your origin story with your parents, where you grew up, how you were raised?
Yeah. I was raised by my parents, and I have a older brother that he didn't live with us because he's my kind of half brother. But he's followed me and shared my music all the way. And I have a little sister. We grew up together. But my parents got divorced when I was 9 years old, so we moved around a lot, and I kind of grew up too early in a way. I can see that now that I tried to take like my father's role in the family when I was 9, and of course I was a kid, but my mindset changed. So I feel kind of that my childhood ended when they divorced. Yeah, you could say that. But my mom has always been super into classical music. She was a violinist and a choir conductor.
Mm-hmm.
And my father, I think he played like guitar when he was at sea, and yeah, he's from the north of Norway, so the culture lies deep within, but it's never kind of come to the surface ever. So in my family, it wasn't this pressure, or it was not a natural way of living, that to just be living off music, but they've always been supportive, of course. And I started playing drums actually when I was 9-10 years. Started in a marching band, played there for 10 or 11 years, and I took kind of the steps up and joined a professional band as a drummer or a percussionist. But then later on I started like learning my guitar and the piano, and then I think my mom always wanted me to keep singing, because I think I had a nice tone from I was really young. And at the high school I studied drums, but found myself getting the parts as a singer in the musicals and the concerts. So even though I wanted to play like drums in Rage Against or something, I was always put like in the front of the stage with microphone. And there is a couple of occasions where I got like this, okay, I can master this. I know this art in a way, even though I haven't never kind of been trained to it. And that led to this desire to pursue that dream, to sing, because I felt like I had something I could give in terms of emotion and how to the word just don't exist in my English vocabulary right now, but I felt that was a more natural place for me to be than behind the drums.
Yeah.
And I started studying here at the university in Kristiansand, where also the other band members have been studied. And from there it's just it's just been step by step closer to where I am right now.
Yeah, there seems to be a huge population of musicians in Kristiansand.
It is, and that's really the place to be if you don't want to play classical or jazz music. There's only one, and it's a super school. I actually I'm doing the masters now after 10 years of not studying, since there's not a lot of since there's no concerts or something.
Right.
Now I'm doing the masters. So back to studying.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do something good with your time.
Yeah, invest in some financial security when this kind of thing is over.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I want to get to that in a bit, because the understanding that a musical career may or may not be the end game for most of us is a tough pill to swallow for a lot. And you're very wise. I mean, I'm much older than you. I'm 54 years old. And you don't know my history, but I was a professional drummer and I was a session musician. So I knew, if anything, there was money to be made sort of serving others. I really wasn't going to do much unless I was out on the road. And even then, as we both know, unless you own something with the band or something with the songs, you're not really going to do very well unless you sell a lot of merch. I think that's brave, but something I've been wanting to ask you from the very beginning, and you've said this, is etymology. Your name, Geirmund, I looked it up. It means son of bear. I don't know if you Do you know this?
Well, to be honest, in Norwegian we have this kind of other translation of what it means. I think it's like a combination of spear and shield.
Okay.
So this, but son of bear, like I'm a bear cub.
Right. Well, it's because it actually says son of, and I can't remember the name. I want to say it's like Gustavson or something like this. And forgive me for sounding like an idiot, because I'm not necessarily. Thank God that you can speak English, because I can not speak any Norwegian. But basically, it broke it down as, yes, the son of a powerful human or powerful creature. And I thought that's so appropriate, especially based on the fact that you said your father is from the north, right? Yeah. There seems to be something about that. And if there's anything that I'm discovering about you today, it's you are very much a continuation of the artistic endeavors and the artistic DNA of your mother and the power of your father. Yeah, and it's really true. I mean, are you seeing it? Are you feeling that?
Yeah, I'm feeling it. And I have my emotion, my emotions, I think comes from my father. I have quite a lot of anxiety and stressfulness, kind of, and a lot of hard emotions. I'm really, if something happens, there's no layer between being nice and being wanting to, yeah. So I've always searched for this forum or place to enhance those feelings and just releasing them all, like energy wise. And I feel that especially with Rendezvous Point, I have my arena. I have a place where I could both be like this gentle, melodic, this versatile thing, and also be kind of crazy if the music underbuilds that emotions, of course. But I feel there's an endless. And I also feel that when I see myself, if I watch some live clips or something, that there's room for more of that hugeness or more powerfulness.
Yeah.
For mother.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because I get to watch you on the outside as a fan and also as a former performer. I get to watch you with this different eye, and I get to look at you and see you develop. And I know it has to be hard at times when you look at something you thought you could have done better. But I want to keep encouraging you, because I was listening to an interview with Rob Zombie. I'm sure you know who Rob Zombie is from, well, Rob Zombie and then White Zombie, the band. He was mentioning that the most important thing we can do is do something ugly in front of others, so we can learn how not to do something ugly in front of others. Yeah. And I thought, oh, that's a great way to put it, that it's so important to believe in yourself to the point of narcissism. Do you know that word?
Yeah.
That you believe in yourself so strongly that it does not matter if another says, well, why did he do that? Or why did he pick that note? And I imagine that has to be quite difficult, because in a sense, you represent the band. You really do.
Yeah. I think in our band we have 5 very talented musicians.
Extraordinarily.
And we have this kind of, it's glued together in a nice way. But of course, there's no secret that Baard is kind of the most well-known
Mhm.
of us, and there's a lot of people coming in because of him, and we really love him for that. So thank
And
you,
he's great.
Leprous. Yeah, he's super. Yeah, he's my brother. But I gotta think about the questions. I I understand that vocalists somewhat represent them as well, because and I'm super strict with myself, to the point where I if I think that I've had a lousy gig, everything's shit.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't care if they say that they've played cool because the singer's been bad, so it's been a it's been a bad concert, and in a way that's kind of challenging, because you describe me as a tenor, but like I'm really a baritone. Like
Yeah, that's true.
I've kind of struggled with the highs. And I had to teach myself that. So some tours have been super challenging when I'm not used to sing that powerful in that higher register. So like at the fourth concert, my voice is gone, and there's nothing we could do. So there's been times where I've been super down, because I feel we have something good, because but because of my illness or my weakness in my voice, we can't perform as a group as the way we should. So
Yeah.
it's a fragile position to be in many ways, but something I've more and more become yeah, to enjoy that.
Yeah. You know, it's fascinating that you said baritone, because the reality is yes, you're correct. I mean, obviously, you know your own voice. And I, as an outsider, I should have thought about that, because that is the truth. You are a baritone. When you sing the opening parts of many of your pieces, they start in a much lower register. And it isn't until later that you're hitting the drama of the song that you're up an octave or two. And yet I would tell you, and I want to encourage you, that Simon Le Bon from Duran Duran is a baritone.
Yeah, okay.
And most people don't know that, because he spent the very early part of his career singing in a tenor range, because all the producers were telling him the higher voice is what pierces. That's what penetrates, and that's what people notice. But when he would sing live, he would miss note after note after note.
Yeah.
And he's Simon Le Bon. You see, and what he discovered was, as long as the band as a whole comes off well, as you had mentioned earlier, it doesn't matter somehow, if you fail, it feels like the whole evening's gone. But somebody on the outside, they're paying attention to all the things. And yes, you, in a sense, are the face of the band. But the beauty of your band over Duran Duran is you're playing complex and thoughtful music that requires a listener's ear. So because it's unsafe music, the listener will give you a break, that you don't have to be perfect. I mean, James Labrie is rarely on. He misses so much. He misses all the time.
Yeah. But yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
But I don't know. I when it comes to singing, I am super confident, like to the point of narcissism.
Yeah.
I don't see why I can't be like world famous for my voice, to be honest. But then again, I'm super insecure as a person, and there's always a voice telling me that, yeah, something negative. But like to experience a concert where everything is kind of smooth, it's not like it doesn't take any energy at all. It's just like sing and and be in the present. That's an amazing feeling, and I want to keep that. But on tour, it's difficult because I'm a huge diva when it comes kind of to air conditioning, temperature when I sleep, noises, and I think I'm a typical vocalist in that part. But so I find myself kind of struggling with the conditions at touring. I often wish I could be a guitarist or a drummer that could be sick, but at the same time play like heck.
Yeah. Do you like the stress of being the front man though? Do you enjoy that immediate, the crowd response and the fact that they are rising and falling with you?
That's something super magical. And I'm really, really grateful to Rendezvous Point to get those experiences, because I think I've played at the Palladium for 2,000 people in London, and that was something I've never thought of doing, like realistically. And without the band, I don't think ever I could reach that like level of performance. But the beauty of the band is that we have many people pulling in the right direction together. It's not just me. So it's kind of a powerful force. And when we early said that our main goal was world domination, and we laugh, of course, but like there's something in us that really, really wants that. So yeah, we love playing, and I love singing with Rendezvous Point. It's just, I've kind of living the boyhood dream in many ways.
It seems to me that Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden, Finland, but specifically Norway, Sweden, and a little bit of Denmark, tends to have where all of the new bands that to me are important, that are growing and coming out. It's the new UK, it's the new America. There's a scene or a feel that is coming out of there. Highly complex, thoughtful music, a combination of starkness and warmth, melodies versus dissidence. It's all of those things. And I think Rendezvous Point probably does it better than most, if not all. I just am, I mean, I could literally praise you constantly. I am absolutely fascinated with it. And you had done a performance on a progressive, like an online progressive, and you performed in a theater. It was in the fall of last year. And you were featured as the headliners. And I will tell you, I watched that show about 5 times looking for mistakes, because that's who I am. I'm that guy. And I'm telling you, it was pretty close to flawless. I would have liked the mix to be a little better with the guitars. Peter's guitars seemed a little off in the mix, but I loved your interpretations of the songs that night, and you seemed really at ease. Really comfortable. What was different about that show?
That was just one of those nights where everything kind of clicked. Of course, we know our stuff, and we've played those new songs a couple of times before. So we had experienced that, and of course we have rehearsed a lot, and it was super fun to kind of, even though it's just an online festival, that's the first time we were kind of headlining something. And we played in this amazing theater in Drammen, Norway, with 12 audience. So it was quite few there, but we felt that people were watching at home, and the sound in the ears was great, and the lights, everything kind of clicks, and I was relaxed. I had the right build-up. I was able to sleep the night before, slept here in the office
Yeah.
just to kind of do everything right before. So that's one of those recorded concerts that I feel kind of represent the standard I want to contain.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so now I get to ask you the fun question you get asked all the time. Why did you do the voice?
I did the voice. My brother, he tipped them about me, and they called. And as the narcissistic vocalist I am,
Yes.
I really now I enjoy it. I didn't know then, but I want to experience fun stuff in my life, and The Voice seemed. I've been watching that show the previous year, and I felt it was a musical competition that has some. It was kind of solid, the whole
Right.
production,
Right.
and I felt it was a spring or a step towards making a greater audience, and be able to show myself as an independent vocalist.
Right. So that's interesting. How did the band respond to? I mean, I get that was in the early stages of your relationship with Rendezvous Point, right? That was maybe
really
just after
early.
you joined, or was it before?
I think maybe it was before.
Okay.
My memory is super bad, but I don't think they had any struggles with the voice. I think it was worse last year when I was asked to join the Eurovision.
Yes.
That was something we had to talk about, and we had loud arguments within the band.
Right.
But I think if I'm lucky enough to get opportunities to both to exposure, but also just to experience something that's not for everyone, and something I really like doing, I'm gonna say yes either way, because even though it's not fitting my profile as such, it's fun, and it's music, and it's a chance to sing for a great audience and maybe give something from myself to them. And
there's so many. I see there's so many benefits, but I can understand how a band would feel that if you have great success with Eurovision, that could mean, you might be heading off on your own as a solo artist, as Geirmund versus Geirmund, the vocalist of Rendezvous Point.
Yeah.
And yet, now that I'm older, and I'm sure you're seeing this too, as you're getting older, that only benefits everyone. They get to ride that wave of your continued growth and successes and public persona, because now they get to be in a band with you, not just you get to be in a band with them.
Yeah, of course. And but I think it was kind of the labeling issues we kind of discussed, because and even myself has, like, I'm labeling Eurovision as something kind of funny,
Right.
and not that like super serious. But in Norway, that there has been a change in the last years. So I felt that every artist, or 70% of the artists, were kind of someone that I could compare to, or at least say, okay, if that person does it, it's natural for me as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a change in that in that way. Of course, I didn't reach the final, but no one did that year, so it was what it was.
Yeah, you know, Eurovision is such a conundrum. We don't understand it in America. I mean, we don't have it, of course, or it'd be called American Vision because we're so petulant. So it's a huge thing in Europe. Can you, for my audience, can you sort of describe what it is and what it means in Europe?
Well, the Eurovision final, the huge, great international final, is the most seen TV program ever. Like Super Bowl and Eurovision. Like, yeah. So it has huge potential of outreach, and I think in Norway we have, and in the Eurovision or the European countries, we have kind of grew up with it. Like this, every May there's Eurovision, and that's something that's a happening you just have to see. And of course we have parties, and we have like this counting systems, and doing like lots of games during the period of the program, and it's just something deep within the spirit of TV art.
Right. Yeah, it seems like a giant European version of the Ed Sullivan Show.
Yeah,
you know,
I think it is.
The Beatles, except it's the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and ABBA, you know, all on the same stage.
Yeah, and we have, but kind of, I'm meeting Eurovision with the kind of a half smile, because it is fun and games, and it is fireworks, and it's makeup, and it's kind of somewhat acting and somewhat show, and a greater part of musical awareness is coming into Eurovision, because many years we have watched the Eurovision final and just held our ears, just muted, and watched them dance, but there's a lot of really, really good songwriters and producers that is working with the show, like all over the world. So to be a part of that is super cool. But in Norway, we're kind of a small country, so to make the program, or to make even the final, you have to have like this huge follower group, and kind of lobbying to get the votes, because it's a voting program. So I was the only one there. Just I was there by myself. I did everything by myself. My sister, she made my costume, but other than that, it was when it came to the production bit, I was doing it myself. So I kind of fell short, but that's fine. And a hidden secret, actually, because there was a lot of voting problems in the final, but I was the first to sing in the first program, and when they were counting my voices, the server, it snapped. So it was almost impossible to vote for my performance, but I didn't want to make like a mess of that after, because it wouldn't benefit anyone. So if the electronics were on point, maybe I could go through. Who knows? But
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No,
I didn't know that happened.
No, it got kind of shushed.
Oh man, you know, I read where you said adrenaline is a vocalist's friend, and I wonder about that, because as a drummer, adrenaline is absolutely the drummer's enemy.
Yeah.
at least in regards to timekeeping, you know, and that's such an imperative thing, especially in a type of music. How does adrenaline benefit you? Because you had just said a second ago that you get to the fourth night and you have no voice. What have you adjusted?
I think being on tour, there is a balance of vocal technique and performance. So when we hit the tour, everyone is super excited. We have the first show, we have a couple of beers, rarely no sleep. And the second show, kind of, everything goes as planned until the fourth night. That's when it hits that you have using your voice incorrectly in a way. But the adrenaline is kind of our best friend, because we can feel down, or we could feel unenergetic, and during the warm-ups you usually kind of struggles, at least if you're tired, but when you hit stage, there's something, because my instrument is my body, so everything has to work simultaneously to do to make the instrument work, and adrenaline kind of makes my blood go faster, and my energy just pops up on another level. So that's super nice in terms of being in the presence, and of course, like range level stuff. I've found myself singing higher notes than I've ever done before because of my adrenaline.
Oh, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You mentioned your body. I know you're in very good shape. You keep yourself very lean. But an interesting question that I want to ask you that I don't know if anybody's ever asked about. I know you have tattoos.
Yeah.
And I find that speaks a lot about a person, what they believe in, what's important to them, what they represent. Yeah. So, you know, I know this is a simple, basic question, but, you know, what's your favorite and what does it represent to you?
Well, my favorite tattoo, it's probably this arm. It's kind of not done yet. I want something here, but this is kind of my biblical arm.
Yeah.
And I have this kind of unique piece here.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I think it's one of a kind. It's done by this guy in Oslo, Jimmy Duval, super famous in like tattooing. And of course, it's my friend, Jesus Christ right there. Just, yeah.
I am so glad.
He does not look particularly well with the rope around his.
Well, you know, in a lot of ways, things didn't work out well for Jesus, and yet they ultimately worked out really well. So,
yeah, it did.
You know, well, so that actually goes to where I want to go. Because I noticed you had I don't know if you have a cross tattoo. I remember I thought you had one. Okay. And then you've probably kind of tattooed around it or adjusted its look, right, to give it more depth and detail. But I found that really fascinating because, of course, it can represent so many different things to people, and spirituality and faith are difficult to discuss components of life. A lot of people feel, oh, if you believe a certain thing, that makes, you know, that's you telling them they should believe that, and that of course isn't the point. But especially because you live in Norway, where especially biblical faith or the walk down that particular spiritual path is somewhat kind of pushed on. It seems to me from the outside.
Yeah.
How did that happen to you? How did you step into this world and be comfortable with it and say, this is who I am. This is a piece of me.
it's something quite strange, but and super personal. But
I'm so sorry if
no,
you
it's
don't want to
fine.
answer this.
No, it's fine. I think at one point in my youth, I found myself longing for this sustained and this character that's how do you put it when it's just there? It's never kind of moving. It's just something,
Always present.
yeah, always present. And I started high school like this super agnostic or anti-religious guy, because I had seen things, and I had like this super skeptical portray of what it is to kind of follow religion, and in some ways I still kind of do, but
Sure.
like at some point I felt like I was drawn into this force, or this something that that kind of gave me what like I wanted personally, someone that always was proud, someone that always cheered me on, and a place where I could kind of just lay down the guard and be completely honest, and still kind of be forgiven.
Yeah, to be you.
And yeah, and find something that is more than just life here and now. I've always been fascinated by after death, and like spirituality, and always try to figure out a smart way to make things make sense. But then I was presented by my classmates this phenomenon of Jesus, and I kind of just said, okay, I'll try. And it kind of never let go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because it's I'm not, I don't find myself comfortable in like one particular church or group of believers. I'm kind of a wanderer, and I'm living my life, but my personal kind of faith that something has happened like over 2,000 years ago to make me and my family and everyone I love safe for. It's just, there's just something there that never kind of lets go, and it's an internal struggle of logic and everything, but it's just now it's just a part of me, of who I am, and when I'm especially in the music business and touring with like metal bands, and I rarely find it's not many of us touring, and none of the guys in the band kind of have the same beliefs, but they respect me and I respect them, so it's not something we kind of discuss much. I understand that I can't turn them over. So
it's not your job.
It's not your job. No, it's not my job. So I'm just gonna leave them be, and yeah. But of course, there's sometimes I want to write kind of the lyrics into something in that direction. But of course, we have a song called Resurrection. There's drops and pieces of what goes on inside of me in the lyrics as well, and I definitely feel that the music fits it.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I love that you said this. I love the bravery and the conviction behind that. I was talking with my wife about this very thing yesterday because of the potential of having this discussion with you today.
Yeah.
I had actually said to my wife, I said, there's something about him that is supernatural. And I love that. So I'm going to share some things with you, if I may.
Yeah.
You've been very personal and private with me, and thank you so much. And I know that you probably have never been asked the Christianity or faith question, but I'm a believer, and I struggle all the time with church, traditional religion. I am all about my relationship with Christ, but I am so not about my relationship with church or what it represents. Because there's, if you put 1,000 people in a church room and you ask them to talk about any topic from murder to abortion to what happens when we die, everybody has a different opinion.
Yeah.
And the only thing that matters to me, and what I love, you said the same thing, is that it's a private experience between you and Christ, and it is how you're made to live in his space. And it doesn't make any sense in the brain. None of it. And I understand why the world says, I think that's freaking crazy. I completely understand that, because from the outside, it is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. It doesn't make any sense. But it is about a heart change, not a mind change. And I've found that the heart is the one thing that projects. When you walk into a room, Geirmund, everybody feels you coming. They don't even know what it is. They just know it's special, that there's a lovely feeling about you as you come in the room. When you smile, there's a lovely feeling about you. When you sing, there's a lovely feeling about you. And none of those things are you. They're all the change of your heart. And I don't want to make this a religious conversation in any way, but I want to encourage you to keep standing up for who you are and where you're going. Because I wanted to actually say this to you, and I'll let you go pretty quick here. But
no, it's fine. I have lots of time.
Good. Okay. But there's a movie that came out in America recently. You might not have seen it. It's called The Old Guard, and it has Charlize Theron in it. Are you familiar with this?
Not the movie, but I know her.
Okay. I don't know if you're a movie person, but I tell everybody I know to watch this movie, because it's about 4 people who seem to be immortal, and they don't know why. And it's all about their discovery of why they are immortal. And even though it's not it's not a Christian movie, it's not none of those things, but it absolutely spoke to me. And I would encourage everybody listening to this show to check it out, because it's not an action movie. It's about everything you do today matters down the road, and you'll never see it coming. You won't be here to see what Geirmund Hansen did to the world. You won't see it. Your children won't see it. But 500 years from now, there will be something that bounced down the generations. And so when I meet somebody like you who is quiet and a bit introverted, but clearly sweet-natured and clearly talented, is everything in my being wants to encourage you. Everything in my being wants to be your friend. I want to play in a band with you. You know what I mean? It's you people like you are so rare. And the fact that you can jump on a show like this, that really, in a sense, is taking a risk, putting yourself out there is taking a risk. It's not your narcissism, it's your heart.
Well, I don't know how to address that, but nice words. And I really appreciate you telling me that, because it's something we definitely need to hear once in a while. Because how you describe me is rarely how I see myself.
Yeah.
To be honest. But of course, for me, it's kind of about, oh, this sounds super cheesy, but in a way it is, but like spreading some kind of love to my surroundings. And I feel that music has a lot of that, and how you greet people, of course. But in the past years, I've used everything towards my kids and the music, so everything else kind of don't matter. And I'm an introverted person, but gets a lot of energy by great people. So now, of course, as everyone else, I really, 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 really miss being on the road and playing concerts, because of everything that gives me, but also what I can give in those situations.
Yeah. Well, I named my company Rockstar Superhero for a reason.
Yeah.
I come from the music business myself, and I know a great many musicians and, rock stars with the word, the quotes around it. But to me, what is important about people is, how do we impact others? And that's where the superhero mindset comes in, because when you think about it, Geirmund, your childhood formed you, who you were created from, your parents, how you were raised, what was your influence. And then there's this moment, this spark that happens, and you have this talent that you discover. First of all, you discover it through drums and your desire to just the melodies and rhythms, and then you start seeing that your talent sort of evolves into these vocal performances, and then you start finding out that how you were made enables you to step out front into that space, to embrace it. Then what happens as a superhero is you now are impacting others. You're using that superpower to impact others. But there's always a moment in a career or in a life where we hit a dilemma stage, where we think, maybe this isn't who we are. Maybe we've lied to ourselves the whole time. Or maybe we're a couple of degrees off and we're not being who we're supposed to be. But there's this beautiful moment, and I feel like you're in that moment right now, where you say, this is who I am, and this is what I will do. And as important as commerce, the ability to make a living and the desire to be famous or impactful, all the things we think about, those don't matter as much as the actual pursuit of the gift. And you, my friend, are gifted. You're gifted. You've been bitten by this incredible melodic bug, this ability to do something so many people look up to, they cannot do, they'll never be able to do. And it doesn't require much of you. It just requires your conviction and your commitment and your practice. And then, without getting churchy on you, what happens is God takes that gift and directs you. He says, you go first. You go. I made you. Quit being a pansy. Quit being a little baby. Get off your ass and go do the thing. And then you get off your ass, you go do the thing, and then he course corrects you, because he wants you to impact that group of people. And
Yeah.
you've done that to me. And if you think about it, if your life is just impacting one and it's impacted so many more, you're in your purpose, my friend.
Preach, bro. That's amazing. And yeah, kind of overwhelming because you live in America, I live in Kristiansand, Norway, and thanks to internet, this can happen.
Yes.
And it's super intense to know that people in Africa or in South America or what everywhere in the world, people are listening to Rendezvous Point.
Yes.
And they get to experience our kind of musical environment and what we're trying to give. And of course, everyone in the band have something they want to give, of course. But like in as you said, in my case, it's driven by something other than me.
Yeah.
And when I when I realized that it was kind of a relief, because I can feel when that is happening. And of course, this is kind of an extreme example that you're telling me about. It kind of makes me more relaxed that I don't have to do it just for my or from me. It's just I've accepted what you said, and I thrive that fact. I really enjoy it. So it's really interesting to have these experience towards a music, a genre, or this culture that's where religion is a really minor part of who are involved. But then again, maybe it's more powerful, or I don't know. It feels meaningful.
Few were chosen, my friend, and I don't know if it's a mix of population, a percentage thing. I don't know what it is, but I count it extremely fortunate that I can do the same, that I can meet somebody like you, that I can share a moment of impact, that we can sort of cross-culturally and sort of spiritually connect. And if there's any one thing I wanted to leave you with, it's something that I've been considering a lot in the last 2 years. And I truly believe what I'm about to say is the truth. And not because I came up with it, but because it was given to me as a gift. It was just like a download I got one day. I was laying in bed. And you know how when an artist lays in bed, we think about all of the things we could do better, what we could change, how we could write a better song or a better lyric, how we could come up with a better melody. And we overthink everything. We just cannot stop. We're restless and we're frustrated, maybe even angry. But what we get when we have these spiritual relationships and friendships like you and I are developing is we learn that we can overthink everything, but we cannot overlove. It's impossible. No. Isn't that something?
Yeah, it is.
It's impossible.
And it is impossible. And like a super example is when we had our first child, Ella. I said to my wife, okay, this is wonderful. I think I'm done because I have no more to give to the next one.
Yeah.
But then the next one comes and it's just overflowing to so it's there is no boundaries, or there is a endless force that is kind of in the modern society maybe or especially for men to talk about, like giving love to others. It's kind of not a taboo because times are changing, but it's not that common.
Yeah.
It's more common when they're kind of a spiritual group, like, but from one man to another to talk about this is, I think, is wonderful, and I think it's necessary, but it's kind of rare, and it really surprises me that the conversation kind of ends up like this, but in a positive way, because but of course, it when you don't have to have faith to a greater extent, or but if you are open to spread your love to others, it's better than not to. So to overcome your personal difficulties, to have a way of making others feel better, or at least feel something, is yeah, that's important, and
Yeah.
something that has to be discussed and talked
Yeah.
about more often.
I'll tell you what, man, we accomplished something very special today. We became friends.
Yeah.
And we connected in a way that few get the opportunity to. And not necessarily because of, again, a spiritual thing, but simply because I think we care across the lines about what the other is feeling, and the impact, and recognizing value. And my greatest goal is to do everything I can in my power to sort of, not to live through you, but to raise you up, to continue to encourage and inspire somebody like yourself, because you have 20 years more of life. If we're to live to this, right, you're 20 years my junior, you have this ability to press forward so much more, because there are people out there in the world that want to amplify your voice. And I am so deeply honored that you would take the time. You have no idea how excited, actually how nervous I was to talk to you today, which is funny because, I mean, people like us, we meet a lot of, well-known, famous, whatever you want to call it. We meet people all the time. But there are people that are so purely inspiring. And it's true that your music as a band, as a whole, it's pretty much a perfect thing. It really is. That band is really, truly special. But it would not be the Rendezvous Point that people like me are falling in love with had you not stepped in and become the focal point, the center, not the, it's not about you, but the part that connects all of that power to the audience. You're the interplay. You're the whatever that is. I'm looking for, but you're the hitch. You connect us. You bring us forward into it, because typically I'm looking at the drummer because I'm a drummer, right? I'm watching the energy and I'm watching all the stuff, or I'm looking at Gunhilda. You know what I mean? I'm looking at all these things, but I'm connecting with you because you have the secret, that beautiful hidden element that connects us. And the beauty is we know what that is. So thank you for being here, my friend. You're mind-blowing, and I hope we can stay in touch. I hope we get to know each other over the years, and maybe one of these days I can get lucky enough to play a little music with you too.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I've never been to America, and I'm looking forward to come over one day. That would
Yeah.
be that would be super.
Well, if you get to Seattle, I will guarantee a sold out show. I will bring 200 people. No problem,
Yeah.
man. All
That
right,
would
brother.
be, of course, man. And thank you for having me, and of course, for all those nice words. I'm gonna carry it with me in my heart. So
Good.
thank you, Rob, and all the best to you and your family. And I hope your head will be better.
Me too. Me too. And we'll end this way because you just said that men don't do this. But I love you, Geirmund. I love you.
Love you too, man, Rob.
All right, brother. Be good. Be
Cheers,
safe.
bro.
Happy
You too.
safe year to you.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right, buddy. See ya.
See ya.